that the lumber was cheap. Everybody had lumber. So they braced it up, put them in the middle of it, left them a place so they could breathe through, and that's where they was at. So James Lett told his family, we are going to church. The fellow told him, one of the men that was in this underground movement, talked to him, don't do anything different today than you did yesterday because of the slave people are coming.
Right.
If you took your kids to church, take them. If you didn't take them last week, don't take them this week. So he made one fatal mistake. James Lett told his kid, he said, you can play anywhere on this farm, you can play, but you stay off of that haystack. It's like telling the boy, don't play with the gun. Stay away from that haystack or you're going to get strapped when you get back. So they played everywhere there was to play. And one of the older boys said to Grandpa, said, let's go slide down the stack. Well, Dad didn't told us not to. Yeah, let's go anyway. He won't be back for a while. So Grandpa and this other brother of his was sliding down the stack, and it would only take so much, and they fell through. And when they fell through, they seen all these, I don't remember how many there was, 6 or 7. So the only thing they said, let's go get Dad. Where did these people come from? So they started running towards the church, and the first wagon was my grandfather. What's the matter? We found all these people in a haystack. He grabbed them and get back in that surrey. Keep your mouth shut. What's the matter with you? He got all over him. And Grandpa said we couldn't understand it. He was mad, and we thought we was informing him of something. And he told him, give him the story. He said, no, I don't want one word mentioned about this, and it wasn't. So the next day, after the people come for the slaves, they moved him back to this man's farm. So this man told my grandfather, I'm getting this from Judson, my grandfather, told him, don't you mention this to nobody. Civil War was still going on. Don't you mention this to nobody. Me and you are not even going to talk about it. And my great-great-grandfather said, well, I didn't even know you was in it. He said, I know you didn't. Nobody else did. And from that day on, they never even talked about it. That's the only time my great-grandfather ever kept them, but that was that one time. And I know that was a fact when my grandfather told me that. And my grandfather was a strong religious man. Told me he never cussed but once in his life. The old sow had pigs under the barn. Couldn't get them out. And he said, I apologize, I cussed. Asked forgiveness, never done it again.
Wow.
And if I must say so, my grandfather was a good man.
So that story you just told us about the haystack, when did that happen?
What's that?
When did that happen?
That would have been, the war broke out in 61. My grandfather was born in 51. This was before the Civil War. My grandfather would have probably been about 8 years old, 7 or 8. But he vaguely remembered it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so about early 60s, 1860s.
It'd been either the late 50s or the early 60s. The Civil War would have been going on, they wouldn't have been hunting them. They wouldn't allow them up here to hunt them.
Right.
Because it was over slavery. So it had to happen before 61. Okay. Probably my grandfather would have probably been 7 or 8.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the only thing I know about that. But my long-term memory is good, but my short-term one is shot. I can lay a hammer down 10 minutes. What'd you do with that hammer? Let me think. I don't know. But when I was a little boy, I learned my mom showing me how to garden. I was 4 years old, and I still garden, just for what Mom taught me. Yes, sir.
Do you remember any stories about any of your family members being
About what?
Your family members being enslaved?
Well, no, the only ones I told you about was Sam Lett married a daughter of one of the slaves from this Scott woman.
Right.
And that's the only time. And of course, the slavery was going on in Maryland. That's one of the reasons they left. They were free people. And how they got free, this lady that married Sam Lett, she had bought these 2 slaves, this Scotch lady, and she had kids by him. One of them was Aquila Lett. So it goes back to these 2 slaves that she bought and then set them free. Now that was the only ones that would have been enslaved, because then in about 1820 some, about 1827 or 8, they left there by covered wagon and went to Belmont County. Now I'm telling you what they told me, I understand. I'm not telling you something I read, I'm telling you what they told me. And they bought the land off of the government for $1 an acre. Now I have no idea where they got the money. Maybe they just made it and saved it. Nobody, some people says that Benjamin Banneker had money and they got it from him. Benjamin Banneker died the day he died. He died near Ellicott, Maryland. I even went there to the farm. Didn't get to the farm, it was getting dark, and we wanted to get to Washington, D.C. There was a Caucasian man there, told me, I'll take you to the farm, but it was getting dark. Stay all night. Well, we was on vacation, you know how that is. So I never got to get on the farm. Since then, they have built some kind of a structure there to honor Benjamin Banneker. And if you don't know who he is, you can look into history, find, well, his daughter, his sister's child was my great-great-great-great-great-grandmother. So I'm a direct descendant of the Banneker family, not Benjamin. He never got married. He's a man that invented the clock. You've read about him. Yeah. But I'm a direct descendant of his sister, Jemima. And she, you want me to give you the story? This man was like this girl. I guess they say she was a beautiful girl. She was half Scottish, half black, maybe some Indian. I'm not sure about that. He wanted to go with her, live with her, and she wouldn't do it. His name was Lett, Sam Lett. Now that's how I come into this world. That was my ancestor. He was a white man. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
What are some other things you'd want to share about your family?
Well, I don't know anything. We just hard workers, taught to be honest, and don't take nothing that don't belong to you, and be proud of who you are. I don't mean to have your head up in the air. I ain't what I'm talking about. He just said to treat everybody right, don't look down on nobody, and because slavery was over once, don't condemn the whole Caucasian race. Bill Jackson, he was born when you was born. He didn't have nothing to do with it. So why should you blame him? So I learned years ago by living in an all Caucasian community, I never looked down on anybody. I used to go down and visit my dad. He lived down in Morgan County, and sometimes I didn't have no place to go, and me and my wife just sat down. It was full of Caucasian people. You know how people visited. It would be completely full, and there'd be nothing but Caucasian people there visiting me. So I grew up to not look down on nobody. And I feel that way today. I told my kid, you marry who you want to marry. And if you marry across the line, that's your business. I don't have to sleep with them. If they don't take a bath, I don't have to smell them. Don't care. You marry who you want to marry. And that's the way it was. That's the way I still feel.
You know, I noticed out on the charts out there that a lot of the Letts and Simpsons guys, males, were involved in music.
In what?
Music.
Yeah.
Have a lot of musical talent.
Well, there was one person that was in relation to the family, but I don't know what. I got to think of his name, Cy Oliver. Did you ever hear of it?
Yeah.
Well, he is connected with my family.
Okay.
The Letts, the Cliffords. See, there was 7 different people. There was the Letts, the Simpsons, the Calamans, the Pointers, the Cliffords, the Guys. There's one more. I can't think of it. Now, I'm not going to tell you. Some of them, Peter Lett, he went over in Pennsylvania and passed for white. Well, nobody, that's his business. So he went over there and passed for white. Since then, some of the family has contacted our family. There was a Clifford. They used to live down here by Shawnee somewhere, and they used to come to the hospital. My 2 first cousins were worked there as nurses' aides. So they used to sit around and joke about, your name's Clifford, my name's Clifford. We're country cousins. And they joked about it for years. So one day, one of my uncles said, Well, next time you're down there, ask him what his father's name was. And they told him. He said, now, find out what his grandfather's name was. Next time he come up, they had babies. John, well, that jived. Now ask him who his great-grandfather was. She told him, next time she said, well, he don't know it, and don't tell him. He is your country cousin. So see things like that crop up, you know. And my family wasn't interested in blowing the whistle on nobody. You know what I mean. Why cause anybody any trouble? Vandy G, she was Vandy Lett. She went away with a white family that took care of they used to, when white people traveled way back in the 1800s, they took a whole entourage with them, their servants and stuff. These are millionaires. So while she was down there, she saw the name Lett in Georgia. So she looked it up and called him up. Where are you from? He said, I'm glad to talk to a Lett. I'm from Zanesville, Ohio, is where my people come from. And I really don't look down on people because a Negro raised me. But you see, since he was a Lett and come from Zanesville, Ohio, in the early 1800s, he was one of them.
Right.
But she said, I wasn't about to tell him. He come out, showed me his wife. She looked white, you know what I mean. That's the reason she was working for this family. Yeah. She looked Caucasian. But she said, I had no way. I don't want to blow the whistle on nobody. Talked to him, visited him, told him goodbye, and I left. So there was a whole lot of Letts, males, that has crossed the line years and years ago. I read one time, they believe besides there's 20 million blacks in this country, there's at least 15 million more that has just a drop. Not blood, it's genes, you know. We used to say blood, but it's not blood, it's the gene. Your gene pool have a little bit of it in them, so. I think since that thing happened in 1860, greatest thing that ever happened. It's great. Give it another 100 years, people won't even talk about it.
Right.
You know, Methuselah lived 900 some years old. If Methuselah hadn't have died, you'd have still been driving an ox cart. By him living 2,000 years, he lived 969 years. Had he lived, still living, he wouldn't have allowed you to have a car. His stature, and stature in the community. The old must die. You know, when you bury somebody, they say the young may die. The old must die. And times never changes till the olds pass on. And that includes me. I'm going to go too. I'll soon be in Shady Lane.
We don't want to, but it has to happen.
Oh yeah, that's life.
Well, so now, did you play music?
Oh no, I couldn't play music. You know, until I was 20 years old, I didn't know there was any music but the Grand Ole Opry.
Okay.
That's what everybody listened to.
Is that your favorite?
Well, what we'd do, we'd gather at a man's house, maybe be 8 or 10 there listening to it. This was all Caucasian people mainly, but there was some few blacks. Well, I've been to many Caucasian man's houses. Careful, come Saturday night and listen to the music. No, come on in. And I'd sit there and listen to the music. In fact, when Joe Louis fought several of his fights, I'd get on the phone and ask some white family, careful, I come listen to the fight. No, they had radio. We didn't have one. We'd go listen to the fight. Things done pretty good. We got along pretty good. And can I tell you something funny?
Go ahead.
We went to a meeting one night, there was a PTA, and they'd have big feeds there. You know, women would bring in pies, cakes, potato salad. So I'm about 7 or 8 years old, and I ain't bashful. And I went in, got me a piece of pie. The woman said, if you want more, come back. So I'm back and got another piece of pie. So my brother and another colored guy that was there said, where are you getting that pie?